New Zealand, 72 earthquakes in one day. New Zealand earthquakes for the week were 412 earthquakes. Definitely an uptick in the earthquakes for North Island, New Zealand, and South Island, New Zealand. We're going to check it out. With New Zealand, we're going to check out your earthquakes today. Let's do this. Hey, New Zealand, just want to get this video out to you guys. I know a lot of you have, you know, subscribed to the channel, and I want to make sure that I at least keep you up to date on big things that are happening out there. You had a 5.2 earthquake. It says it's 86 kilometers north of Gisborne, but it looked like it's really close to Wanakaio and Hikurangi in that particular area. Just make sure that if you have relatives out that way, make sure they're safe. I want to give you an overview over some of the New Zealand earthquakes and some of the offshore earthquakes that have happened out there. If we look at the ones that are red, those are the ones that are the most recent. There was a 2.8 about 5 hours ago in Tauranga Bay of Plenty, New Zealand. It says it's about 65 kilometers north of that particular area. Now, Auckland, New Zealand, look like it's okay. It doesn't look like they've had any earthquakes in that area, but there has been some offshore here in the Bay of Plenty here in New Zealand. There was a 2.8, we mentioned that one there. Let's see, it looked like a lot of them are twos. 2.9 11 hours ago, that's right here by White Island Volcano here in New Zealand. And we also have a 4.2 that happened just an hour ago. So look like there's an uptick of earthquakes out there, and I just want to make sure we get the word out to you. About 26 kilometers southeast of Rotorua, Rotorua, New Zealand. That's 4.5 magnitude earthquake that happened about 6 hours ago. A lot of these are very recent. And right by Taupo, let's talk about Taupo, New Zealand. We can see that near Taupo, that 55 minutes ago was a 4.7. We're going to have to definitely look at your stats. We're going to look at your stats. These earthquakes are so close together. By the time I get to it, it's going to say that one happened an hour ago, but we'll be able to look at what earthquakes for New Zealand have actually transpired in the last hour. Now, 44 minutes ago, look how close these earthquakes are. A 3.7, 44 minutes ago, and it was 4.2 kilometers southwest of Taupo. And as you can see, the Taupo volcano here in New Zealand has actually had an uptick of earthquakes just recently within the last week. Let's see which are the recent ones. 11 hours ago, there was a 1.7 magnitude earthquake here by Lake Taupo volcano. And also we have another one, a 1.7 magnitude, 12 hours ago. Let's see, now we have one that's a little bit larger. Let's take a look at that. 6 days ago, there was a 3.6 magnitude earthquake right by the Lake Taupo volcano. That's another one, we want to make note of. Now let's check the whole North Island and also the South Island. Let's look at the recent ones. An hour ago, yes, there's definitely an uptick of earthquakes. The time intervals are very, very close. A 3.6 magnitude earthquake about 1 hour ago. It says it's 65 kilometers north of Wanganui. I'm really trying, I really try. And we also have some that happened within 10 hours ago, a 2.1 magnitude earthquake. And we also have a 2.1. There's two of them that happened here not too far from New Plymouth. Let's take a look and see what's going on over here right on the shore. There's also one here in Taranaki, and that was a 3.1 magnitude earthquake. It happened 22 minutes ago. You see how close these are? Another 2.3 happened about 23 hours ago in the same area. Now these happened days ago, with the exception of these over here. Okay, now that one we did look at. Now this one is recent. 21 hours ago, a 2.3 magnitude earthquake. It says in the Tasman Sea. Now let's keep going. Let's keep going. Now there's some over in this area. Wow, there's just a lot. That's within an hour. Look at that. And if we look at the ones that are over in this area here, we see that it was a 1.9 about 9 hours ago. There's a larger one 59 minutes ago, a 4.1 by Gisborne, New Zealand. And near Hastings, there was a 2.5 about an hour ago. Guys, this really uptick of earthquakes are really happening a lot here. 2.3 about 4 hours ago. And I just want to make sure that all of you that visit the channel pass this video around so people will know what's going on out there. Some of you have actually mentioned that you don't hear about all the earthquakes that are going on, and right now there is an uptick. They're pretty close together. You have a 2.9 magnitude earthquake that happened around 11 hours ago near Marlborough district in Blenheim, New Zealand, and it looked like a larger one happened here 52 minutes ago, a 4.0 magnitude earthquake. And that was, it's saying 670 kilometers southwest of Taupo. Okay, let's find something close. Mount Taylor, not too far from Mount Taylor, New Zealand, or Mount Arrowsmith, New Zealand, is where the 4.0 magnitude earthquake was about 15 minutes ago. 52 minutes ago. Now let's take a look and see what's going on. Look like there's a recent one here. There was an hour ago at 3.7 that happened in Tamaru near Canterbury, New Zealand. And two earthquakes happened here. There was a 2.3 magnitude earthquake, and that was 6 hours ago. And we also had let's see if it'll let me grab that, a 3.5. Yeah, these are earthquakes that people would actually feel. I don't see any reports being reported about these earthquakes. Now you also have some here in this one area that has a lot of earthquakes. You had a 3.1 about 9 hours ago. The other earthquakes happened days ago or 24 hours ago, but those are 6 days ago. So 6 days ago there were earthquakes, and now they're starting up again. So yes, in the South Island in New Zealand, there's an uptick of earthquakes. The largest one that I can see is the 4.0 that just happened within the hour, 53 minutes ago. And when we take a look in the North Island, New Zealand, the most recent and largest one was the 5.2 that was 58 minutes ago. So out there in New Zealand, we need you guys to really keep your head on a swivel. Make sure you have some sort of app, disaster app or alert app. Volcano Discovery has a great app. I would highly recommend that one. Our disaster alert is also another good. Now there was a very large earthquakes just north of all of you that happened, and I don't know if this has anything to do with the ones that are happening down there, but I want to let you see this. In Fiji Islands, there was a 6.6 earthquake about 40 minutes ago. See, it's really close to yours. An hour ago, there was a 7.0, and the other one is a 6.8 about an hour ago. So this general area here is starting to get quite a few earthquakes. And as you can see, when you look at the North Island in New Zealand and the South Island in New Zealand, you can see that there are quite a few. I mean, it's just really dense. It's really dense. And this here is right along the Alpine fault line that you have there in New Zealand. And remember, you have one part of the area, or we just had an update. One part of the area to the far left here, right over in this area, is the Indo-Australian plate. And remember, we mentioned that this particular part of the island is actually on two tectonic plates. This side here is actually the Pacific plate. So these earthquakes are going to happen in this particular area. Let's take a look at your stats and we'll wrap the video up, but let's see how many earthquakes you had for the day, the last 24 hours, the last week, and let's just take a look at that. Okay, let's get on this. There's been a total of 72 earthquakes actually in the last 24 hours in New Zealand. That's a lot. Matter of fact, we'll go ahead and say that New Zealand had 72 earthquakes in the last 24 hours. They're in a day, basically. Might want to let people know that. 21, let's go ahead and refresh this. Let's make sure that there's not anything else that's happened. Hasn't. In Tauranga, New Zealand, 21 minutes ago, there was a 2.8. Gisborne, New Zealand, there was a 5.2. That's exactly where it was. We were looking at that. That was 1 hour and 2 minutes ago. Now, the last 7 days, the highest one is a 5.2. Last 30 days was a 5.7. And the last 90 days, it was a 5.8. And the past year, it was a 6.2 magnitude earthquake, which was the highest. Now, you've actually had 28 earthquakes that were in the 2 magnitude range, 10 earthquakes in the 3 magnitude range, 5 earthquakes in the 4 magnitude range, and 1 earthquake that was in the 5 magnitude range. And as you can see, for the last 7 days, you had 412 earthquakes for New Zealand, and last 30 days, it was 1,470 earthquakes. Last 90 days, it was 4,610 earthquakes. And the past 365 days, it was 18,678 earthquakes that you've had. So you've had a very serious uptick in earthquakes. Now, the last one that you had was 22 minutes ago. That was a 2.8. You have had ones, but primarily you've had 2s and 3s and 4s. And this is the 5 that was right 86 kilometers north of Gisborne, New Zealand. Now let's take a look and see, is there anything else? 4.2, yeah, see you have a lot of 4s and 3s, but a lot of 2s also. So make sure you, at least like I said, have some sort of app. Make sure you let others know in the area, especially in the North Island, all those earthquakes that are happening like one back to back. Because when you look at your map, that is intense. That is intense. That's showing the North and South Island, all the seismic activity that's been going on. Now you still have one volcano, the White Island volcano, that is still under warning, and you also have Lake Taupo volcano, and that is a super volcano. It's actually under unrest, so it hasn't moved up a notch to where it's going to be erupting. Not yet, and hopefully it doesn't happen. But we'll keep you advised. I just was looking at the maps and studying and just saw all of that happening in New Zealand, and I had to hop on here. Okay, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and we will definitely see you in the next video. Ciao.